Herb Strafford, KMSB Fox 11 and KVOA NBC4, Tucson, Arizona.
Hi,
All
Herb.
right. Hey, nice to meet you, Jamie. My first question just is really about how Vecna has pretty much established, that character is now in the pantheon of scariest monsters, right? And that's sort of what is it about this character that is just so sort of chilling to everybody, do you think? Well, is there something you sort of key into?
The humanity, I think, behind what he has to say, and the fact that it's something that I believe that we can all relate to. There's a funny thing with humans that we never quite know what the other one's going to do, and that's quite terrifying sometimes. So yeah, the humanity behind it. He's not a swamp monster. This is a real person, and the writing is just so beautiful. So all of those things combined just create something that's truly horrifying.
And I think, to those ends too, I think you bring something to that as well, because honestly, you're super creepy when you're not when you're the friendly, sort of the orderly. And I think that's pretty unsettling. Were you sort of channeling the inner Vecna when you were being, the friendly orderly?
Yeah, there was always this with friendly orderly and well, with Henry and with Juan, I had to really understand what he'd gone through and what his belief system was. And so, that was always underneath, like bubbling underneath the surface, because he'd had to kind of play the game in order to survive in the environment that he was in, and also to somewhat manipulate Eleven into giving him what he needs and what he wants and his desires. So yeah, that was always there. But the thing with Vecna is that once Eleven sends him into the upside down and he becomes who he becomes, or has that dramatic shift, all hope is lost, and he's just left with this like deep resentment for her. It's like shit, it's the only thing, and he's got no one to talk to about it. So I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get angry and I talk to myself, but I really need to talk to somebody else. But imagine if there was nobody else and you were just sat there talking to yourself, bubbling up for years on end. You'd be livid. So yeah, that's where it ended up going.
So, it's such a sort of an amazing role to come into the series with all these established characters, right? And so to come in and sort of be the heavy, were you sort of isolating yourself from the rest of the cast and the kids, so you didn't have that sort of, they didn't become friends with you, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, from with most of them, with Sadie, and even with Grace, Grace, who plays Chrissy. I haven't told anyone this yet, but like, we got on a plane together from Los Angeles to go to Atlanta, and she was the only person like under the age of like 50 in like first class on the flight. So I was like, and I knew I was working with her, and I was like, all right, that's got to be one of ours, and I bet that's Chrissy, I bet that's Grace. So I kind of just followed her through the airport, and it just was like being weird. I feel so guilty talking about it. And then we got introduced on set the following day, and I was like, I saw you on the plane yesterday. Apologies. She was like, that's terrifying. I was like, yeah. And then but with Mills and with Millie, we built this like beautiful friendship. Not only because of the fact that like the characters, obviously she has to trust him, but also just because we connected as humans. And so Millie had a very interesting journey because she saw me disintegrating, as it were, and turning into something else. Whereas with Sadie, I did keep my distance at first, and with a lot of the other kids, but then as time progressed, we all got to know each other. So yeah, I did. And I isolated myself just individually anyway. I just didn't go out.
Well, congratulations. A remarkable end to the season, and I hope we see more of you, even though you will haunt my nightmares. Thank you very much.
Good. You're welcome.